When Eddie gave a homeless man a free haircut in his barbershop, he had no idea someone important was watching from across the street. Someone who'd turn his simple act of kindness into a golden empire. Because moments later, Donald Trump walked in. October 2025 swept into Willow Creek like a cool breeze through a forgotten town. The paper mill had closed decades ago, leaving behind faded signs and quiet streets where folks still nodded at strangers. Eddie Malone's barbershop sat on the corner of Elm and Main, a scruffy little spot with a red and white pole that spun lazy circles. Eddie, 32 and lean, kept it running, part stubbornness, part loyalty to his dad, who'd passed it down before a heart attack took him 3 years back. Eddie yawned, flipping the open sign at 8 a.m., the bell jangling as he stepped inside. The shop was small, 2 chairs, a cracked mirror, a sink that dripped unless you gave it a good whack. He grabbed the broom, humming an old rock riff, his sneakers scuffing the worn linoleum. Rent loomed next week, and the electric bill was already late. He'd been skipping lunches to keep his kid sister, Mia, in pencils and sketch pads. She was 15, the artist. He was the one holding the line. Eddie swept the floor, muttering to himself, "One haircut at a time, man. We'll figure it out." The morning stretched slow. No customers by 9:30, just the radio buzzing and that sink dripping like a metronome. Eddie was wiping the counter when he spotted a guy outside the window. Worn coat, torn jeans, hair wild like he'd tangled with a storm. The guy paused, peering in, hands buried in his pockets. Eddie squinted. Something about him felt off, not shady, just adrift. The bell jingled soft as the door creaked open. Eddie straightened up, waving him in. "Hey, come on in. Looking for a trim?" The man hesitated, shifting on his feet. "Just passing through. Don't got much cash." Eddie grinned, pulling out a chair. "Sit down anyway. You look like you could use a cleanup. On the house, call it a slow day special." Joe blinked, his blue eyes sharp against his weathered face. "You sure? Don't want to owe nobody." Eddie waved it off, patting the chair. "No debt here, man. I'm Eddie, by the way." Joe eased into the seat, shoulders tense like he expected a trick. Joe. "Thanks, Eddie." Eddie fired up the clippers, the buzz slicing the quiet. "So, Joe, what's your story? You from around here?" Joe stared at the mirror, his voice rasping low. "Used to be. Long time ago. Worked down in Florida mostly, golf courses, teaching folks how to swing. Had a good run till, well, life swings back sometimes." Eddie nodded, trimming Joe's tangled mess. "Golf, huh? You look like one of those pros. Give you a cut to match. Sharp, clean, like you're about to walk Augusta." Joe twitched a small smile, his face softening. "Been a while since I held a club. Lost the gig, then the house. Been drifting since." Eddie finished the trim, lathering up for a shave. "There you go, Joe. Pro golfer material again." Joe ran a hand over his head, staring at the mirror. "Damn. Forgot what this felt like. You're good, kid." Eddie shrugged, wiping Joe's face with a warm towel. "Told you, slow day special. You're welcome back anytime." Joe stood, fishing in his pocket. "Ain't much, but it's what I got." "Thanks, Eddie. Means more than you know." Eddie pushed the money back, shaking his head. "Keep it, man. Buy yourself a coffee down at Millie's. This one's on me." Joe nodded slow, his eyes steady. "You're a rare one, Eddie Malone." He turned, the bell jingling as he stepped out into the crisp air. Eddie watched him shuffle down Main, a quiet lift settling in his chest. He grabbed the broom again, figuring the day'd stay dead. But across the street, a black SUV with tinted windows had rolled up 10 minutes earlier. Donald Trump sat inside, hair perfect, gold tie gleaming, sipping coffee from Millie's. He'd come to Willow Creek that morning, scouting a golf course site his team had pitched. Breakfast was done, and he'd parked here to think. Then he'd seen Joe walk in, and watched Eddie work through the glass. Trump leaned forward, tapping his driver's shoulder. "You see that? Guy walks in looking like a bum, comes out like a champ. That Barber's got something. Real talent, real heart." "I like that." The driver nodded, glancing in the rear view. "Want me to check it out, sir?" Trump shook his head, swinging the door open. No, I'm going in myself. Gotta see this up close. This is big, I can feel it." He stepped out, the SUV door slamming, and crossed the street with that strut everybody knew. The bell rang loud as Trump filled the doorway, 6'3", voice already bouncing off the walls. Eddie looked up, nearly dropping the broom. Morning. Welcome to Eddie's. You, need a trim?" Trump flashed that trademark grin, striding in. "Eddie, right? Saw what you did for that guy. Fabulous work, just fabulous. Turned him from zero to hero in 10 minutes flat." You're a genius with those clippers. Eddie gripped the broom tighter, blinking hard. Thanks, Mr. Trump. Just doing my job. Well, sorta. He needed a boost, so I gave him one. Trump paced the shop, eyeing the chairs and leaky sink. A boost? You gave him a whole new life. I saw it. Guy walked out looking like he could run a country club. That's not just a haircut, Eddie. That's a statement. I love statements. Big ones. Eddie scratched his neck, setting the broom aside. Appreciate that. You here for a cut, or? Trump spun around, pointing sharp. Better than that, Eddie. I'm here for you. This shop, this talent, it's gold waiting to happen. I've got a golf project down the road, and I need people like you. Heart, hustle, and a damn good eye. What's it take to buy this place? Eddie's jaw dropped, his hand fumbling for the counter. Buy it? This dump? I mean, it's mine, sure, but it's not exactly Trump Tower. Trump laughed, loud and brassy. Dump? No, this is authentic. Real America right here. I'm turning it into something huge. Trump-style centers, coast to coast. Haircuts, shaves, the works, all with that Eddie Malone magic. You in? The bell jingled. Mia poked her head in, backpack swinging. Eddie, you got lunch money? Aye, holy crap, is that Donald Trump? Trump turned, grinning wider. Smart kid. Yeah, it's me. And you're just in time. Your brother's about to be a star. Stick around, sweetheart. This is gonna be tremendous. Eddie swapped a look with Mia, his head spinning. Mia, hell, I don't even know what's happening here. Trump clapped his hands, the sound ringing out. What's happening? Opportunity, Eddie. Big, golden opportunity. Get ready. This is just the beginning. The shop felt smaller, the air thick with Trump's energy. Eddie stared after him as Mia sketched furiously, her pencil scratching out something wild. A free cut for Joe had landed him here, face to face with a billionaire who saw empires in a leaky sink and a cracked mirror. Whatever came next, Willow Creek was about to wake up fast. Eddie Malone stood frozen in his barbershop, broom clutched tight, staring at Donald Trump like the man had just flown in from Mars. It was still October 2025 in Willow Creek, the air outside sharp with fall chill. But inside Eddie's scrappy shop on Elm and Main, a wildfire was sparking. The bell above the door had just settled for Mia's entrance, and now Trump paced the room, his gold tie catching the dim light of the buzzing fluorescence. Mia lingered by the counter, eyes wide, her sketchbook pressed against her chest. A free haircut for a drifter named Joe had spiraled into this. A billionaire tossing around wild ideas while Eddie's head spun like a busted clipper. Trump spun on his heel, jabbing a finger at Eddie like he was sealing $1 million handshake. Trump pointed sharply, his voice booming. Eddie, listen, this place is a diamond rough, sure, but I see it. Trump-style centers, haircuts, shaves, the works, all with that magic you've got. We're talking coast to coast, big league. Eddie blinked, setting the broom against the wall before it slipped. Mr. Trump, I'm flattered, but this shop's just me. One guy, 2 chairs, a sink that leaks if I don't kick it. You're talking about buying it. Trump waved a hand, brushing off the words like dust on his lapel. Not just buying, building. I've got a golf course deal cooking 5 miles out. Prime land, beautiful, best you've ever seen. Needs a vibe, a community kick. This shop's the start. Authentic, gritty, real American hustle. You're the guy to run it. Mia stepped forward, her voice cutting in as she lowered her sketchbook. Weight like a chain? With Eddie's name on it. Trump turned to her, flashing that wide TV grin. Smart kid, love it. Not his name, though, Trump-style centers. Eddie's the heart, the talent. Picture it. Every small town, every city, guys walking in looking like wrecks, walking out like winners. All because of you, Eddie. Eddie glanced around, his eyes tracing the cracked mirror and faded photos of his dad. I don't know, man. I'm no big shot, just a barber keeping the lights on. And Mia's school, the rent. Trump stepped closer, lowering his voice like he was letting Eddie in on a secret. Lights on? Eddie, I'm talking millions, millions. You'll have cash for rent, school, whatever. I saw what you did for that guy, Joe, right? Turned him around like it's nothing. That's gold, pure gold. Eddie froze, his hand still on the counter. You saw Joe? That's why you're here. Trump nodded, his eyes sparking with excitement. Across the street, in my car, best view in town. Watch the whole thing. Guy walks in a mess, walks out sharp. Boom, instant transformation. I said to myself, Donald, that's a winner right there. Golf guy, too, did he tell you that? Eddie nodded slow, scratching his jaw. Yeah, said he taught down in Florida till it fell apart. Rough break. Trump clapped his hands, the sound echoing off the walls. Rough? Perfect. Golf's my game. horses, clubs, the whole deal. That's fate, Eddie, fate. We find Joe, bring him in, make him part of this. Style and swing, all under one roof. Mia's jaw dropped, her sketchbook slipping an inch. You're gonna hire the homeless guy too? Trump spun to her, pointing with a grin. Exactly, kid. Talent's talent. Doesn't matter where it's been hiding. I've got people, best people, tracking down guys like Joe all the time. Lost diamonds, rough cuts. We polish 'em up, make 'em shine. Eddie leaned against the counter, his shoulders slumping under the weight. Hold up. You're saying you want my shop, me running some chain, and Joe working with you? All 'cause I gave him a free cut. Trump stepped back, spreading his arms wide like he was unveiling a billboard. Bingo. It's a vision, Eddie, big, bold, beautiful. Trump-style centers. Haircuts by day, golf lessons by the green. Joe's your first success story. Proof it works. We'll fix this place up, make it the flagship, golden sign out front, best clippers money can buy. The bell jingled soft. Old Mr. Jenkins from the hardware store poked his head in, peering over his glasses. Eddie, you open? Need my usual. Hold on, is that Donald Trump? Trump turned fast, flashing that brassy smile. In the flesh. Eddie's a star now, Jenkins. Get in line. You're next for the golden touch. Jenkins shuffled in, easing into the second chair. Golden what now? Eddie, what's he on about? Eddie sighed, waving a hand vaguely. He wants to buy the shop, turn it into some big thing. Says I'm a genius 'cause I cut Joe's hair for free. Jenkins chuckled, settling back in the chair. Joe? That guy who just walked by looking like a new man? Hell, Eddie, you are good. Didn't know you were that good. Trump clapped Jenkins on the shoulder, nearly tipping him over. See? The people know. Eddie's a natural. Turned scruff into stars. We're gonna make Willow Creek famous, famous. Mia giggled, scribbling fast in her sketchbook. Eddie, he's nuts, but kinda cool nuts. You gonna say yes? Eddie shot her a look, rubbing his temples. Mia, I don't even know what I'm saying yes to. This guy's moving 100 miles an hour. Trump pulled a sleek phone from his pocket, already tapping away. Speed's my specialty, Eddie. I'm calling my guys, best lawyers, best designers. Get the ball rolling. We'll have blueprints by Friday, cash in your hand by Monday. You're on board, right? Eddie opened his mouth, fumbling for words. I gotta think this over. It's a lot, man. Trump waved it off, barking into the phone. Yeah, it's me. Get the team to Willow Creek pronto. Barbershop deal. Huge, tremendous. And find me a guy named Joe, golf pro, rough shape, last seen on Maine. Go, go, go. He hung up, winking at Eddie as he pocketed the phone. Done. My people find Joe, he's key. You and him, Eddie, you're the heart of this. What's your number? We're locking this down. Eddie fumbled for his phone, his hands shaky. 555-0132. But I need a minute here. Trump typed fast, brushing off the hesitation. Think? No time for that. Action's where it's at. You'll thank me when you're cutting hair in a gold-trimmed shop. Cash rolling in. Mia, you're the artist. Design me a logo, huh? Golden scissors, big and bold. Mia grinned, her pencil flying over the page. Golden scissors? I'm on it. Gonna make it epic. Jenkins laughed, shaking his head in the chair. Eddie, you're in deep now. Might as well ride the wave. Eddie ran a hand through his hair, staring at Trump's whirlwind energy. With Trump? Who knows? But if he's serious, we're in for one hell of a ride. Trump clapped him on the back, jarring him forward. That's the spirit. We're building an empire. Eddie, starting right here. Get ready. This is going to be the best thing you ever did. The bell rang sharp as Trump strode out, leaving Eddie, Mia, and Jenkins in a buzzing quiet. Mia held up her sketch, a pair of scissors dripping gold, wild and sharp. Mia flipped the page toward Eddie, grinning. Think he's for real? Eddie slumped into a chair, exhaling hard. With Trump? Hell if I know. But if he is, we're strapped in tight. Outside, Trump climbed into his SUV, already on another call, voice booming through the tinted glass. Willow Creek ticked along, oblivious to the golden storm brewing, all sparked by a barber who didn't charge a dime for a Tuesday trim. Eddie Malone slumped in his barbershop chair, head still buzzing from Donald Trump's whirlwind exit. It was late Tuesday afternoon in October 2025, and Willow Creek's quiet streets glowed orange with the setting sun. The shop on Elm and Main sat silent now, save for the drip of that leaky sink and Mia's pencil scratching across her sketchbook. Trump had stormed in, dropped a bomb about buying the place, and stormed out, leaving Eddie with a number in Trump's phone and a promise of cash by Monday. A free haircut for a drifter named Joe had flipped his world upside down. and Eddie wasn't sure if he'd landed in a dream or a circus. Mia glanced up, holding her sketch of golden scissors. "Eddie, you okay? You look like you got hit by a truck." Eddie rubbed his face, leaning back in the chair. "A truck? More like a gold-plated bulldozer. Trump's talking empires, Mia, millions, chains, golf stuff. What the hell did I step in?" Mia grinned, flipping her sketchbook shut. "Sounds like a win to me. Free haircut turns into a jackpot? You're like a small-town superhero now." Eddie snorted, kicking the base of the counter. "Superhero? I'm just trying to pay the electric bill." And Joe, Trump's got his crew hunting the guy like he's buried treasure. The bell jingled. Mr. Jenkins poked his head back in, waving a newspaper. "Eddie, you see this yet? Word's out. Trump was spotted at Millie's this morning. Folks say he's scoping land for a golf course." Eddie sat up, grabbing the paper. "Golf course? That's what he meant. Said it's 5 miles out. Ties into this shop thing somehow." Jenkins shuffled in, plopping into the second chair. "Ties in? Boy, you're the tie-in. Gave that Joe fella a cut, and now Trump's got stars in his eyes. Whole town's buzzing, Millie's packed with gossipers." Eddie skimmed the article, his stomach twisting. "Great. One slow day, and now I'm front-page news. What's next, TV crews?" Across town, Trump's black SUV rolled down Main, his voice booming through a phone call. He'd left Eddie's shop 10 minutes ago, but his mind was already 3 steps ahead: blueprints, deals, and that drifter he'd told his team to find. Trump leaned forward, barking into the phone. "Yeah, it's me. Update on Joe. Golf pro, rough shape, last seen near Elm. You got anything yet?" A crisp voice crackled back. "Linda, his top assistant. Working on it, sir. Sent 2 guys to check Millie's diner and the shelter on Pine. Description's vague, but we'll track him." Trump nodded, tapping the window. Good, fast, Linda, fast. This guy's gold, golf gold. Eddie's the spark, Joe's the swing. Perfect combo. Call me the second you've got him." Linda paused, her tone steady. "And the barbershop? Lawyers are drafting the offer. $50,000 up front, plus a cut of the chain. Designers are sketching the flagship look, gold trim, like you said." Trump grinned, leaning back in the seat. "Perfect, tremendous. Eddie's in, even if he doesn't know it yet. Push it through, cash in his hand by Monday like I promised." Back at Millie's diner, Joe sat in a corner booth, nursing a coffee he'd bought with the $2 Eddie refused. The free haircut had lifted something in him. He sat straighter, his clean-shaven face catching glances from the regulars. The diner hummed with chatter, Trump's name bouncing around like a pinball. Joe sipped slow, staring out the window, oblivious to the storm heading his way. The door swung open. 2 sharp-dressed guys in suits stepped in, scanning the room. One, a wiry man with glasses, muttered to the other. Suit 1 adjusted his tie, nodding toward Joe. "That him? Cleaned up, but the coat matches, old brown, beat to hell." Suit 2 squinted, pulling out a phone. "Maybe. Let's check." Boss said golf pro, rough shape. This guy's got the look. They approached Joe's booth, the wiry one clearing his throat. "Excuse me, sir. Are you Joe? Used to work golf courses, maybe Florida?" Joe looked up, his grip tightening on the mug. "Who's asking?" "Yeah, I'm Joe, taught golf years back." "What's this about?" Suit 1 smiled, sliding into the booth. "Name's Carter, work for Donald Trump. He saw you today at Eddie's barbershop. Said you're a talent he needs. Mind coming with us?" Joe blinked, setting the mug down. "Trump? The haircut guy? Saw me? I don't get it. What's he want with a washed-up caddy?" Suit 2 chuckled, leaning against the table. "Not washed up, golden, he says. Golf project, big one. Wants you in on it. Talk details with him direct. You game?" Joe stared, his jaw slack. "Game? I've been sleeping under bridges, man. This some kind of joke?" Carter shook his head, pulling out a card. "No joke, serious as $1,000,000. Trump's building something, golf course, style chain, all tied to Eddie's shop. You're the missing piece. Come meet him. Worst case, you get a free ride." Joe ran a hand over his fresh-cut hair, exhaling hard. "Hell. Eddie's cut did this? All right, let's see what the big man's got." Back at the shop, Eddie was locking up when his phone buzzed, unknown number. He answered, leaning against the door. Eddie fumbled the keys, pressing the phone to his ear. "Yeah, hello? Eddie Malone." A clipped voice came through. "Linda again. Mr. Malone, this is Linda, Mr. Trump's assistant. Good news, we've got Joe. Bringing him to the site now. Mr. Trump wants you there, 5 miles west, Old Miller Farm. Can you make it?" Eddie froze, the keys slipping an inch. "Joe? You found him. That was what, an hour? Yeah, I can drive out, give me 20 minutes. Linda's tone brightened. Excellent. See you there, Mr. Trump's excited. Oh, and the offer's ready, $50,000 hits your account Monday if you sign tonight. Eddie hung up, staring at the phone. 50 grand? Monday. Mia, grab your stuff. We're going to a farm. Mia bolted up, shoving her sketchbook in her bag. Farm? Joe. Eddie, this is nuts. You're famous already. Eddie grabbed his jacket, shaking his head. Not famous, freaked out. Trump's moving like a freight train. 20 minutes later, Eddie's beat-up pickup rattled onto the old Miller farm. 5 miles of overgrown fields and a crumbling barn. Trump's SUV was parked near a ridge, a cluster of suits buzzing around with clipboards and tablets. Trump stood by a fence, pointing at the horizon, his voice carrying over the wind. Trump gestured wide, spotting Eddie's truck. There's my guy. Eddie, over here. Look at this land. Perfect for a course. Best fairways you'll ever see. Eddie climbed out, Mia trailing behind. Mr. Trump, you weren't kidding, moving fast. Linda said you found Joe. Trump grinned, waving Joe over. Fast? That's me, best pace in the game. Joe, meet Eddie again. Your Barber, my star. Tell him what you told me. Joe stepped up, his coat still ragged but his face bright. Eddie, these guys nabbed me at Millie's. Say Trump's building a golf course here. Wants me teaching. Me, a damn drifter. Eddie blinked, hands in his pockets. Teaching? Joe, you said you were good. Trump serious? Trump clapped Joe on the back, nodding fast. Serious as gold. Joe's a pro, taught at Palm Beach top clubs. Bad luck knocked him down, but we're lifting him up, Trump style. Eddie, you started this, you're cut, my vision. Mia tugged Eddie's sleeve, whispering loud. Eddie, he's for real. Joe's a golf star? This is wild. Eddie nodded slow, his eyes on Joe. Wild's right. Joe, you okay with this? Trump's got big plans. Joe shrugged, a grin breaking through. Okay? Beats bridges, man. If he's got clubs and a paycheck, I'm swinging. Trump spun to his team, barking orders. Hear that? Joe's in, Eddie's next. Linda, get the papers, $50,000 for Eddie, job for Joe. This is the spark, folks. Willow Creek's golden age starts now. Eddie stood there, wind tugging his jacket, watching Trump's chaos unfold. The shop, Joe, a golf course, all from one free trim. Mia sketched the scene, her pencil flying, while Joe tested an imaginary swing. Willow Creek was shifting under Eddie's feet, and Trump's golden storm was just getting started. Eddie Malone gripped the steering wheel of his rattling pickup, pulling back into Willow Creek as the sun dipped below the horizon. It was still Tuesday night, October 2025, but the day felt like a week. Trump's whirlwind had swept him from his quiet barbershop to the old Miller farm and back again. Mia sat shotgun, her sketchbook open, scribbling the scene they'd just left. Trump barking orders, Joe swinging an imaginary club, and a golf course blooming in the weeds. Eddie's phone buzzed with Linda's last words, $50,000 by Monday if he signed tonight. A free haircut for Joe had turned his leaky shop into Trump's next big thing, and Eddie's head was still spinning. Eddie parked outside the shop, killing the engine. Mia, that farm. Trump's dead serious. Golf courses, style centers. What's next? A skyscraper on Main. Mia hopped out, slinging her bag over her shoulder. Skyscraper? Nah, but those golden scissors are gonna shine. You signing that deal or what? Eddie climbed out, locking the truck. 50 grand's rent for years. Mia's school, new clippers. But Trump? Guy's a tornado. Am I crazy to trust him? The shop's red and white pole creaked in the evening breeze as Eddie unlocked the door. Inside, the cracked mirror and dripping sink stared back. Same old place, but Trump's words echoed. Flagship gold trim empire. Eddie slumped into a chair, staring at the broom he'd dropped hours ago. Mia flopped onto the counter, sketching again. Mia twirled her pencil, glancing at him. Crazy? Maybe. Cool. Definitely. Eddie, you turned Joe into a golf pro with one snip. Trump's just amplifying it. Eddie rubbed his temples, exhaling hard. Amplifying? He's rewriting my life. Gotta sleep on this. Biggest call I've ever made. Sleep didn't come easy. Eddie tossed all night, Trump's brassy voice bouncing in his skull. By Wednesday morning, Willow Creek was buzzing. Word of Trump's visit had spread like wildfire. Millie's diner was packed, and folks lingered on Main, whispering about golf courses and golden signs. Eddie flipped the open sign at 8 a.m., bleary-eyed, when a sleek black van rolled up outside. 3 suits piled out. Linda at the helm, clipboard in hand, flanked by a designer with a tablet and a contractor with a tape measure. Linda strode in, the bell jingling sharp. Mr. Malone, Eddie, good morning. Papers are ready, and we're here to measure. Mr. Trump wants this flagship moving, yesterday. Eddie blinked, setting his coffee mug down. Measure? Flagship? Linda, I haven't signed yet, still chewing it over. Linda smiled, tapping her clipboard. Chew fast, $50,000's wired. Hits your account the second you sign. Designers have the gold trim mock-up, Mr. Trump's orders. Take a look. The designer, slick hair, artsy glasses, flipped his tablet. Name's Theo. Here's the vision. Trump Style Center, Willow Creek flagship. Gold accents, new chairs, logo out front. Eddie's touch, Trump's shine. Eddie leaned in, squinting at the screen. Gold accents? That's damn fancy. Sink still leaks in this picture. Theo grinned, swiping to a blueprint. Not anymore, new plumbing top gear. You're the star barber, need the best setup. Sign, and we start tomorrow. The contractor, gruff, bearded, unrolled a tape measure. Call me Hank. Gotta check walls, wiring, this place is old. Trump said gold standard. So we're ripping and rebuilding. Eddie stepped back, hands in his pockets. Ripping? Rebuilding? Hold up, this is my dad's shop, not a demo site. Linda nodded, her tone smooth. Your dad's legacy upgraded, Trump's promise. $50,000's just the start. 10% of the chain's profits, too. Sign, Eddie, this is your shot. Before Eddie could answer, the bell jingled again. Joe stepped in, his ragged coat swapped for a crisp polo from Trump's team. He looked sharper, eyes bright, a golf cap tucked under his arm. Joe grinned, tipping the cap. Eddie, they dragged me to that farm again. Gave me this getup. Trump's got me swinging clubs tomorrow. Teaching gig starts next week. Eddie blinked, crossing his arms. Joe? You're damn, you look good. Teaching already? Trump's not messing around. Joe laughed, running a hand over his hair. Messing? Guy's a machine. Said your cut was the spark. Hired me on the spot. You signing up too? Eddie hesitated, glancing at Linda, still deciding. 50 grand's big, but this shop, it's home. You think it's worth it? Joe shrugged, leaning against the counter. Worth it? Beats bridges, Eddie. Trump's nuts, but he's real. Gave me a room, a job. Your call, man. Linda handed Eddie a pen, her eyes steady. Your call, yes, but time's ticking. Mr. Trump's at the site now. Wants you and Joe there by noon. Sign and we roll. Eddie took the pen, his hand hovering. Noon? Hell, all right, gimme till then. Gotta see this through. An hour later, Eddie's pickup rolled back to the Miller farm, Joe and Mia in tow. The field was alive now, surveyors staking lines, a bulldozer rumbling, Trump in the center like a ringmaster. He spotted Eddie, waving him over. Trump clapped his hands, striding up. Eddie, my man. Joe's here, you're here. This is it. Look at this. Fairways by Spring, best course east of the Mississippi. Eddie climbed out, shielding his eyes. Spring? You're moving fast. Shop's getting measured already. Linda's got papers. $50,000 profits. That real? Trump nodded, pointing at the horizon. Real as gold. 50's yours Monday. Wired done. Profits? You're my star. 10% of every Trump-style center. Joe's teaching here. Your cut started it. Joe stepped up, testing a swing. Teaching's right. Trump's got clubs coming tomorrow. Eddie, your snip got me here. Sign that damn paper. Mia tugged Eddie's sleeve, holding up her sketch. Eddie, look, golden scissors, golf green. This is us now, say yes. Eddie exhaled, staring at the chaos. Bulldozers, suits, Trump's grin. The shop flashed in his mind, cracked mirror, his dad's photos, then the mock-up, gold trim, new chairs. He pulled the papers from his jacket, signed fast. Eddie handed the packet to Linda, nodding slow. All right, done. 50 grand, 10%. Let's see this empire, Trump. Trump clapped him on the back, nearly knocking him over. That's my guy. Linda, wire it. Eddie's in. Hank, rip that shop apart tomorrow. Gold standard now. Linda tapped her phone, smiling sharp. Wired. Hits Monday, 9 a.m. Congrats, Eddie. Welcome to Trump style. By Thursday, Hank's crew descended on the shop. Walls stripped, sink yanked, new wiring snaking through. Eddie watched, half-dazed, as his dad's relic morphed. Gold-trimmed chairs rolled in by Friday, a massive sign, Trump Style Center. Willow Creek flagship, hoisted above the door. Joe started at the farm, swinging clubs with a grin, while Willow Creek buzzed. Tourists trickling in, whispers of Trump's gold touch spreading. Eddie stood outside, scissors in hand. Dad's shop, golden now. Joe's swinging, I'm cutting. Trump's storm hit hard. Mia snapped a photo, her sketchbook tucked away. Hard? Epic, Eddie, you're the spark. Willow Creek's never been this alive. The pole still spun, faster now, painted gold. Eddie's free cut had ignited a fire, and Trump's empire was rising, one snip at a time. Eddie Malone stood outside his barbershop, now the Trump-style center. Willow Creek flagship, scissors in hand, staring at the gold-trimmed sign glinting in the Friday morning sun. It was October 25th, 2025, just 3 days since Trump had stormed in with his wild pitch. The shop on Elm and Main was unrecognizable. Walls rebuilt, sink replaced, new chairs gleaming with gold accents. Hank's crew had worked overnight, and Theo's design glowed. A massive logo of golden scissors above the door, sharp and bold. Eddie's free cut for Joe had sparked this chaos, and today was the grand opening, Trump's empire taking its first swing. Eddie adjusted his new apron, black with gold stitching, his stomach flipping. 3 days, shop's a palace now. Trump's nuts, but damn, he delivers. Mia bounced up, snapping photos with her phone. Delivers? Eddie, this is insane, gold everywhere. You're a rock star, ready to cut some hair. Eddie grinned, twirling the scissors. Rock star? Just don't want the place to collapse on opening day. Trump's coming, Joe's teaching at the farm. This better work. Willow Creek buzzed. Main Street was packed, folks spilling out of Millie's diner, kids clutching balloons shaped like golf clubs. Word of the Trump-style center and the golf course 5 miles out had drawn a crowd. Locals, tourists, even a news van from the county station. Eddie's phone pinged, $50,000 had hit his account Monday, right on schedule. He'd paid rent, stocked Mia's art supplies, and still had enough to breathe easy for once. The bell jingled. Linda strode in, clipboard in hand. Eddie, big day, Mr. Trump's ETA is noon. Ribbon cutting here, then Joe's first lesson at the site. You're set, Barber station's live, staff arriving. Eddie turned, eyeing the new setup. Staff? Thought it was just me, gold chairs and all. Linda smiled, checking her list. Just you today, Mr. Trump's hired 2 more for tomorrow, trained pros. You're the flagship face. First cuts are yours. Hank lumbered in, wiping sawdust off his hands. Eddie, wiring's solid, gold signs lit. Trump's got a mic out front. Wants you talking too. Eddie balked, clutching his scissors. Talking? Me. I cut hair, not speeches. Trump's the loud one. Linda handed him a note card, her tone firm. Short and sweet. Thank the town, plug the center. Mr. Trump insists. Your story's the hook. By noon, the crowd swelled. Hundreds lined Main, cameras flashing as Trump's SUV rolled up. He stepped out, gold tie blazing, waving like a parade king. Eddie stood by the shop door, Mia at his side, the ribbon stretched across the entrance, gold, of course. Trump grabbed the mic, his voice booming. Willow Creek, you're tremendous, best folks around. Today's huge, Trump-style center opens, Eddie's genius at work. Haircuts here, golf swings down the road, golden future, all cause of one free cut. The crowd cheered, balloons bobbing as Trump handed Eddie the mic. He froze, then took it, his voice shaky. Eddie cleared his throat, gripping the mic. Thanks everyone. Been cutting hair here forever, my dad's place. Gave Joe a trim Tuesday, and well, Trump took it from there. Hope you like the new digs. Laughter rippled, folks clapped, chanting Eddie, Eddie. Trump clapped him on the back, snagging giant gold scissors from Linda. Trump sliced the ribbon, grinning wide. Open for business, best barbershop in America. Eddie, first cut's yours, let's roll. The doors swung wide, locals poured in, oohing at the gold trim and sleek chairs. Mr. Jenkins shoved to the front, plopping into Eddie's station. Jenkins tugged his cap off, settling in. Eddie, my usual, make me sharp like Joe. Trump's gold's nice, but your snip's the real deal. Eddie fired up the clippers, buzzing away. Usual it is, sharp's my specialty. Gold's just the bonus. The shop hummed. Kids gawked at the logo, regulars snapped selfies. Mia sketched the chaos. By 1 p.m., Trump herded the crowd into vans. Time for Joe's debut at the Miller farm. Eddie locked up, piling into his truck with Mia, the news van trailing behind. Eddie drove, glancing at Mia. Joe's turn now, golf pro in a polo. Hope he's ready for Trump's spotlight. Mia smirked, sketching a golf club. Ready? Guy's been under bridges. He'll swing like a champ. At the farm, the field was transformed. Survey lines marked fairways, a putting green roped off, and a crowd of 50 waiting. Joe stood by a stack of clubs, Trump's team buzzing around him. He looked nervous but steady, polo crisp, cap tilted, hands flexing like they remembered the game. Trump waved Eddie over. pointing at Joe. There's our man. Eddie, you sparked this. Joe's first swing's history. Watch him shine. Joe grabbed a driver, stepping to the green. Eddie, Trump says I'm gold. Guess your cut rubbed off. Here goes. He swung, clean, sharp, the ball soaring straight down the field. The crowd hooped, cameras flashing as Joe grinned, tipping his cap. Trump clapped, loud and brassy. Trump pumped a fist, shouting, "Perfect, best swing I've seen." Joe's teaching here. Classes start Monday. Eddie, your guy's a star. Eddie crossed his arms, nodding slow. Star? Joe, you're killing it. Trump's right for once. Joe laughed, swinging again. For once? He's loud, but he's got cash. Clubs are mine now. Thanks, Eddie. Your snip's my ticket. Mia snapped a photo, her pencil flying. Eddie, Joe, heroes of Willow Creek. Trump's gold, but you're the spark. By dusk, the farm emptied. Joe stayed, practicing swings, while Eddie drove back to the shop. Main Street glowed. Tourists lingered, cash registers rang at Millie's, and the gold sign shone like a beacon. Eddie reopened, cutting hair till dark. Locals raving about Joe, the center, Trump's storm. Eddie locked up, staring at the sign. Day one, shop's gold, Joe's swinging, town's alive. Trump's nuts, but it's working. Mia slung her bag over her shoulder, grinning wide. Working? Eddie, it's epic. You're the barber who woke Willow Creek. Eddie pocketed his keys, exhaling slow. Woke it? Feels like Trump's empire swallowed it. My snip just lit the match. The pole spun fast now, gold and bright. Eddie's free cut had turned a quiet corner into Trump's golden stage, and Willow Creek was dancing in the spotlight. Eddie Malone leaned against the counter of the Trump-style center, wiping down his new gold-trimmed clippers as the Monday morning sun streamed through the window. It was October 28th, 2025, 3 days since the grand opening, and Willow Creek was still riding the high of Trump's golden storm. The shop on Elm and Main hummed. 2 new barbers, hired by Trump's team, buzzed away at their stations, while Eddie's chair stayed packed with locals wanting his cut. The gold sign outside glowed, drawing tourists like moths, and Main Street pulsed with life. Shops reopening, kids chasing golf ball balloons, Millie's diner running out of coffee by noon. Eddie set the clippers down, glancing at the line out the door. 3 days in, shop's a zoo. Trump's gold's pulling him in, but they're asking for me. Mia swept in, dropping her backpack by the counter. Asking? Eddie, you're the star. Eddie's snip is all over town. Even my art teacher's talking Trump style. Eddie chuckled, shaking his head. Star? I'm just cutting hair. Mia, it's Trump's circus. Joe's swinging clubs, I'm snipping. Casaba's gone wild. The bell jingled. Linda breezed in, tablet in hand. Eddie Wild's right. Sales are up 300% since Friday. Mr. Trump's thrilled. Second location's greenlit for Riverbrook. Opens next month. Eddie turned, wiping his hands on his apron. Riverbrook? Already? Linda, this place just got its legs. Another shop's nuts. Linda tapped her screen, nodding sharp. Nuts? Strategy, Mr. Trump's orders. You're the face. Training barbers there next week. Chains rolling. 10% profits hit your account monthly. Eddie blinked, leaning on the counter. Training? Me. I'm no teacher, barely keeping up here. Linda handed him a schedule, her tone brisk. You'll manage. Your style's the brand. Joe's classes at the farm sold out. 50 signed up Monday. Mr. Trump's doubling down, golf and cuts, Willow Creek's gold. Across town at the Miller farm, Joe stood on the new putting green, driver in hand, teaching his first official class. 50 locals, kids, retirees, even Millie from the diner, gripped clubs, mimicking his swing. Trump's team had rushed in gear, clubs, mats, a trailer office, and Joe looked the part. Crisp polo, logo cap, eyes sharp with purpose. The crowd hung on his every word, his past as a Florida pro trickling out. Joe swung slow, pointing down the field. Keep it smooth, wrist loose, follow through. Took me years at Palm Beach to nail this. Y'all got it in a day. A kid in a backwards cap stepped up, grinning wide. Joe, you're awesome. Were you like famous down there? Joe paused, resting the club on his shoulder. Famous? Nah, taught rich folks, club champs. Had a condo car, till the hurricane hit '08. Lost it all, drifted up here. Millie adjusted her grip, squinting at him. Hurricane? Rough break, Joe. Trump's giving you a redo, huh? Joe nodded, swinging again. Redo? More like a rocket. Eddie's cut, Trump's cash. Swinging beats bridges. Thanks to you folks showing up. The class cheered as Joe's ball sailed straight. Cameras clicked, a news crew filming for the evening broadcast. Back at the shop, Eddie caught the buzz. Customers chattered about Joe, the golf course, Trump's next move. The bell rang again. Theo, the designer, rolled in with a crate. Theo pried it open, pulling out a gold plaque. Eddie Special Delivery, Trump's gift. Eddie Malone, the snip that started it all. Mounts above your station. Eddie stared, running a hand through his hair. Plaque? For me? Theo, I just trimmed Joe. Trump's the one going nuts. Theo laughed, nailing it to the wall. Nuts? Vision, your cut's the story. Tourists love it. Sales spiked after Friday's news clip. Your Willow Creek's face. The shop filled. Locals swapped tales of Joe's swing. Tourists snapped pics of the plaque. Mia sketched the crowd. By noon, a county reporter shoved a mic at Eddie, camera rolling. The reporter adjusted her mic, smiling big. Eddie Malone, barber to hero. One free cut, now Trump's empire. How's it feel? Eddie froze, then leaned into the mic. Feel? Crazy, shop's gold. Joe's a pro, town's booming. Just wanted to help a guy. Trump ran with it. The reporter nodded, turning to the camera. From snip to swing, Willow Creek's golden age begins. Back to you, Tom. As the crew left, Eddie's phone buzzed. Trump, live from his jet. Eddie answered, slumping into his chair. Eddie pressed the phone to his ear, wincing. Yeah, Trump? Shop's nuts, Joe's a hit. Guessing you heard? Trump's voice blasted through, loud and brassy. Heard? Eddie, I'm watching. Best news clip ever. Your gold, Joe's gold. Riverbrook's next. Training Barbers Wednesday. Be there. Eddie rubbed his temples, exhaling hard. Wednesday? Riverbrook? Trump, I'm drowning here. Can't you slow down? Trump laughed, cutting him off. Slow? No way, speed's the game. You're my guy. Heart, hustle, snips. Linda's got your flight. See you in 2 days. The call ended. Eddie stared at the phone, then the plaque. Mia slid over, sketching Joe's swing from a news photo. Mia tapped her pencil, grinning wide. Flight? Eddie, you're big time. Trump's dragging you nationwide. Eddie groaned, spinning his clippers. Big time? More like dragged. Riverbrook's an hour away. Training barbers, Mia, teacher? The shop stayed packed. Eddie cut hair till dusk, the new barbers keeping pace. By night, he locked up, the gold sign casting a glow on Main. Across town, Joe wrapped his class, signing up 20 more, word spreading fast. Tuesday brought more. Tourists flooded the center. Joe's story hit regional news, and Willow Creek's pulse quickened. Wednesday dawned. Eddie boarded a chartered plane, Linda at his side, landing in Riverbrook by 9 a.m. The new Trump-style center loomed, gold-trimmed, half-built, 6 barbers waiting. Eddie stepped in, clippers in hand, facing wide-eyed trainees. Eddie cleared his throat, setting his bag down. All right, I'm Eddie. Been cutting hair forever. Trump says I'm the guy. Let's snip, keep it sharp, nothing fancy. The trainees nodded. Eddie demoed a fade, hands steady despite the nerves. By noon, they were buzzing away, mimicking his style. Linda watched, tablet glowing. Linda tapped a note, nodding at Eddie. Solid start. Mr. Trump's right, you've got it. Riverbrook opens in 3 weeks. Your brand's spreading. Eddie wiped his brow, exhaling slow. Spreading? Feels like running. Shop, Joe, now this. Trump's empire's swallowing me whole. Back in Willow Creek, Joe's classes doubled. Kids begged for tips, retirees booked months out. The farm morphed, fairways staked, a clubhouse rising. Eddie flew home by dusk, the shop still buzzing, Mia greeting him with a grin. Mia hugged him, waving her sketchbook. Eddie, you're a legend. Riverbrook's got your snip. Joe's on TV. Willow Creek's famous. Eddie slumped into his chair, staring at the plaque. Famous? Exhausted, shop's gold. Joe's a star. I'm training strangers. One cut did this. The gold pole spun outside. Willow Creek wasn't sleepy anymore. Eddie's snip had rippled wide, and Trump's empire was roaring, with him at the heart. Eddie Malone stood behind his station at the Trump-style center, clippers buzzing as a tourist from Chicago raved about the gold sign outside. It was November 1st, 2025, a week since the flagship opened in Willow Creek, and the shop on Elm and Main was a whirlwind, 3 barbers cutting nonstop, phones ringing with bookings, Mia snapping photos for a scrapbook. The Riverbrook location was half-built, Eddie's training trip still fresh, and Trump's empire was spreading fast. 2 more centers greenlit for December. A free cut for Joe had turned Eddie into the face of a golden chain and Willow Creek into a buzzing hotspot. Eddie finished the fade, brushing off the cape. There, sharp as hell. Tell Chicago we've got gold down here. The tourist grinned, snapping a selfie. Gold? Man, this place is wild. Saw you on the news. Trump's barber. Gonna brag about this back home. Eddie nodded, wiping his clippers. News? Yeah, keeps popping up. Hope Hope you liked the snip more than the hype. The bell jingled. Linda swept in, tablet glowing. Eddie, hype's just starting. CNN's picking up the story. Barber's kindness sparks Trump empire. Airs tonight. Mr. Trump's ecstatic. Flying in tomorrow. Eddie froze, setting the clippers down. CNN? National? Linda, I'm just cutting hair. Trump's the one blowing it up. Linda tapped her screen, smiling sharp. Blowing up? Building. Your snip's the heart. Ratings'll spike. Riverbrook's ahead of schedule. Opens in 2 weeks. You're trending, Eddie. Mia slid over, waving her phone. Trending? Eddie, hashtag Trump styles everywhere. Twitter's nuts. You're famous, Joe too. Eddie groaned, slumping against the counter. Famous? Exhausted, shops packed. I'm training barbers, now TV? Trump's dragging me to the moon. Across town at the Miller farm, Joe wrapped his morning golf class. 80 students now, spilling onto the staked fairways. The clubhouse frame was up, Trump's logo gleaming on a sign. Trump Golf Academy. Joe swung a driver, his polo crisp, cap tilted. Every lesson sold out through New Year's. His story, Florida pro to drifter to Trump star, was gold for the press, and cameras followed him daily. Joe paused, wiping his brow. All right, nice swings today. Book early, spots are tight till 26. A retiree adjusted his cap, grinning wide. Joe, you're a legend. TV says you taught pros down south. That true? Joe leaned on his club, nodding slow. True, Palm Beach, 90s to '08. Big names, big courses. Till the hurricane wiped me out. Trump's gig's better, thanks to Eddie. The crowd murmured. Joe's past was peeling open, each layer fueling the hype. But that afternoon, a sleek gray sedan rolled into the farm lot, a tall man stepping out, 50s, tanned golf slacks, eyes narrow. He watched Joe swing, arms crossed, then approached as the class dispersed. The man stopped, clearing his throat. Joe Tanner? Been a while. Rick Vance, Palm Beach. Remember me? Joe turned, lowering his club. Rick? Hell, yeah, I remember. Top player, my best student. Till you ditched me for that fancy coach in '07. What's up? Rick smirked, adjusting his sunglasses. Up? Heard you're Trump's new toy, swinging for small-timers. Thought you were done after the storm. Guess I underestimated you. Joe stiffened, gripping the driver. Done? Took a hit, drifted. Eddie's cut, Trump's cash back now. You here to gloat? Rick shook his head, pulling a card. Gloat? Compete. Run a golf school in Miami, big league. Trump's hype's loud. Let's test it. You and me match next week. Show these hicks a real swing. Joe took the card, his jaw tight. Match? Rick, I'm teaching, not fighting. Trump's got me booked. Why now? Rick laughed, stepping back. Why? Your story's hot. Beat me, you're gold. Lose, I prove Trump's picking scraps. Think it over, call me. Joe watched him drive off, the card creased in his hand. Back at the shop, Eddie cut hair till dusk. CNN's crew arrived at 6 p.m., lights blazing, a reporter shoving a mic in his face. The reporter adjusted her earpiece, smiling big. Eddie Malone, barber to empire builder. One free cut, now Trump's golden boy. Tell us how it started. Eddie wiped his hands, leaning into the mic. Started? Slow day, gave Joe a trim, no charge. Trump saw it, went nuts, shop's gold, Joe's swinging. Here we are. The reporter nodded, turning to the camera. From snip to success, Willow Creek's barber lights up Trump's world. Stay tuned. As the crew packed up, Eddie's phone rang, Trump voice blasting through. Trump shouted, cutting through static. Eddie saw the preview. Tremendous. CNN's huge, nation's watching. I'm there tomorrow. Joe's match too. Eddie blinked, holding the phone away. Match? Trump, what match? Joe's teaching, not dueling. Trump laughed, loud and brassy. Duel? Rick Vance, old rival, big talker. Joe called, match is on next Tuesday. You're there, barber and golfer, my stars. Eddie slumped into his chair, exhaling hard. Tuesday? Trump, I've got Riverbrook, the shop. Can't juggle this too. Trump cut him off, voice rising. Juggle? You're gold, Eddie, handle it. Linda's got your back. Match is prime time. Huge ratings. See you tomorrow. The call dropped. Eddie stared at the gold plaque above his station. Eddie Malone. The snip that started it all. Mia slid over, sketching Rick's card from Joe's text. Mia tapped her pencil, frowning slightly. Eddie, Joe's freaked. Some jerk from Florida's challenging him. Trump's hyping it. Gonna be big. Eddie rubbed his face, spinning his clippers. Big? More like nuts. Joe's swinging, I'm cutting, now a showdown? Trump's killing me. Tuesday loomed. Trump flew in Monday night, the shop buzzing with prep. Joe trained at the farm, Rick's taunts echoing in his head. CNN booked the match, Trump's golf star versus Miami pro, and Willow Creek braced for the spotlight. Eddie locked up late, the gold sign casting shadows. Eddie pocketed his keys, staring at the street. Shop's gold, Joe's fighting, Trump's empire's a beast. Sign or not, I'm in deep. Mia hugged him, her sketchbook tucked away. Deep? Epic. Eddie, you're the heart. Joe beats this guy, we're legends. Eddie nodded slow, exhaling into the night. Legends? Hope so. Joe's swing, my snip, Trump's betting it all. Wednesday dawned. Trump-style centers trended nationwide, Joe's match loomed, and Eddie faced a choice. Ride Trump's wave or steady the storm. The snip that started it was roaring now, and Willow Creek was ground zero. Eddie Malone stood behind his station at the Trump-style center, clippers buzzing as a tourist from Chicago raved about the gold sign outside. It was November 1st, 2025, a week since the flagship opened in Willow Creek, and the shop on Elm and Main was a whirlwind, 3 barbers cutting nonstop, phones ringing with bookings, Mia snapping photos for a scrapbook. The Riverbrook location was half-built, Eddie's training trip still fresh, and Trump's empire was spreading fast. 2 more centers greenlit for December. A free cut for Joe had turned Eddie into the face of a golden chain and Willow Creek into a buzzing hotspot. Eddie finished the fade, brushing off the cape. There, sharp as hell. Tell Chicago we've got gold down here. The tourist grinned, snapping a selfie. Gold? Man, this place is wild. Saw you on the news. Trump's barber. Gonna brag about this back home. Eddie nodded, wiping his clippers. News? Yeah, keeps popping up. Hope you liked the snip more than the hype. The bell jingled. Linda swept in, tablet glowing. Eddie, hype's just starting. CNN's picking up the story. Barber's kindness sparks Trump empire. Airs tonight. Mr. Trump's ecstatic. Flying in tomorrow. Eddie froze, setting the clippers down. CNN? National? Linda, I'm just cutting hair. Trump's the one blowing it up. Linda tapped her screen, smiling sharp. Blowing up? Building. Your snip's the heart. Ratings'll spike. Riverbrook's ahead of schedule. Opens in 2 weeks. You're trending, Eddie. Mia slid over, waving her phone. Trending? Eddie, hashtag Trump styles everywhere. Twitter's nuts. You're famous, Joe too. Eddie groaned, slumping against the counter. Famous? Exhausted, shops packed. I'm training barbers, now TV? Trump's dragging me to the moon. Across town at the Miller farm, Joe wrapped his morning golf class. 80 students now, spilling onto the staked fairways. The clubhouse frame was up, Trump's logo gleaming on a sign. Trump Golf Academy. Joe swung a driver, his polo crisp, cap tilted. Every lesson sold out through New Year's. His story, Florida pro to drifter to Trump star, was gold for the press and cameras followed him daily. Joe paused, wiping his brow. All right, nice swings today. Book early, spots are tight till 26. A retiree adjusted his cap, grinning wide. Joe, you're a legend. TV says you taught pros down south. That true? Joe leaned on his club, nodding slow. True, Palm Beach, 90s to '08. Big names, big courses. Till the hurricane wiped me out. Trump's gig's better, thanks to Eddie. The crowd murmured. Joe's past was peeling open, each layer fueling the hype. But that afternoon, a sleek gray sedan rolled into the farm lot, a tall man stepping out, 50s, tanned golf slacks, eyes narrow. He watched Joe swing, arms crossed, then approached as the class dispersed. The man stopped, clearing his throat. Joe Tanner? Been a while. Rick Vance, Palm Beach. Remember me? Joe turned, lowering his club. Rick? Hell, yeah, I remember. Top player, my best student. Till you ditched me for that fancy coach in '07. What's up? Rick smirked, adjusting his sunglasses. Up? Heard you're Trump's new toy, swinging for small-timers. Thought you were done after the storm. Guess I underestimated you. Joe stiffened, gripping the driver. Done? Took a hit, drifted. Eddie's cut, Trump's cash back now. You here to gloat? Rick shook his head, pulling a card. Gloat? Compete. Run a golf school in Miami, big league. Trump's hype's loud. Let's test it. You and me match next week. Show these hicks a real swing. Joe took the card, his jaw tight. Match? Rick, I'm teaching, not fighting. Trump's got me booked. Why now? Rick laughed, stepping back. Why? Your story's hot. Beat me, you're gold. Lose, I prove Trump's picking scraps. Think it over, call me. Joe watched him drive off, the card creased in his hand. Back at the shop, Eddie cut hair till dusk. CNN's crew arrived at 6 p.m., lights blazing, a reporter shoving a mic in his face. The reporter adjusted her earpiece, smiling big. Eddie Malone, barber to empire builder. One free cut, now Trump's golden boy. Tell us how it started. Eddie wiped his hands, leaning into the mic. Started? Slow day. Gave Joe a trim, no charge. Trump saw it, went nuts, shop's gold, Joe's swinging. Here we are. The reporter nodded, turning to the camera. From snip to success, Willow Creek's barber lights up Trump's world. Stay tuned. As the crew packed up, Eddie's phone rang, Trump voice blasting through. Trump shouted, cutting through static. Eddie saw the preview. Tremendous. CNN's huge, nation's watching. I'm there tomorrow. Joe's match too. Eddie blinked, holding the phone away. Match? Trump, what match? Joe's teaching, not dueling. Trump laughed, loud and brassy. Duel? Rick Vance, old rival, big talker. Joe called, match is on next Tuesday. You're there, barber and golfer, my stars. Eddie slumped into his chair, exhaling hard. Tuesday? Trump, I've got Riverbrook, the shop. Can't juggle this too. Trump cut him off, voice rising. Juggle? You're gold, Eddie, handle it. Linda's got your back. Match is prime time. Huge ratings. See you tomorrow. The call dropped. Eddie stared at the gold plaque above his station. Eddie Malone. The snip that started it all. Mia slid over, sketching Rick's card from Joe's text. Mia tapped her pencil, frowning slightly. Eddie, Joe's freaked. Some jerk from Florida's challenging him. Trump's hyping it. Gonna be big. Eddie rubbed his face, spinning his clippers. Big? More like nuts. Joe's swinging, I'm cutting, now a showdown? Trump's killing me. Tuesday loomed. Trump flew in Monday night, the shop buzzing with prep. Joe trained at the farm, Rick's taunts echoing in his head. CNN booked the match, Trump's golf star versus Miami pro, and Willow Creek braced for the spotlight. Eddie locked up late, the gold sign casting shadows. Eddie pocketed his keys, staring at the street. Shop's gold, Joe's fighting. Trump's empire's a beast. Sign or not, I'm in deep. Mia hugged him, her sketchbook tucked away. Deep? Epic. Eddie, you're the heart. Joe beats this guy, we're legends. Eddie nodded slow, exhaling into the night. Legends? Hope so. Joe's swing, my snip, Trump's betting it all. Wednesday dawned. Trump-style centers trended nationwide, Joe's match loomed, and Eddie faced a choice. Ride Trump's wave or steady the storm. The snip that started it was roaring now, and Willow Creek was ground zero. Eddie Malone leaned against the counter of the Trump-style center, staring at the gold plaque above his station as the Wednesday evening sun dipped low over Willow Creek. It was November 6, 2025, a day after Joe's big win over Rick Vance, and the shop on Elm and Main was still buzzing. Tourists snapping pics, locals raving about the match, Mia sketching the chaos. Trump's empire was soaring. 5 new locations greenlit, Riverbrook opening next week, hashtag Trump-style trending nationwide. But Eddie felt the weight. His free cut for Joe had sparked a golden beast, and Trump's relentless pace was pushing him to a breaking point. Eddie wiped his clippers, exhaling slow. Joe's a champ, shop's gold. Trump's train's too fast. Gotta breathe or I'm done. Mia slid over, dropping her sketchbook. Done? Eddie, you're the king. Joe won, town's alive. Trump's nuts, but we're rocking. Eddie nodded, spinning his scissors. Rocking? Sure, Mia. I'm training Barber's coast to coast, shop slammed. Trump's gold's choking me. The bell jingled. Linda strode in, tablet blazing. Choking? Eddie, it's thriving. Mr. Trump's here tomorrow, big announcement. 5 centers by spring. You're the face. Nationwide tour starts Monday. Eddie turned, slamming the clippers down. Tour? Linda, I'm no show pony. Shop's my roots. Trump's piling on. When's it stop? Linda paused, tapping her screen. Stop? Mr. Trump doesn't stop. Growth's the game. You're the spark. $100,000 bonus if you sign for the tour. Eddie blinked, crossing his arms. 100 grand? Tempting. Roots matter more. Need to talk Trump. Face to face now. At the Miller farm, Joe wrapped his evening class. 100 students now. Fairways bustling, clubhouse half-built. His win over Rick had lit a fire. Kids idolized him. Retirees booked lessons till summer. He swung a club, grinning at the crowd, but his past lingered. Palm Beach, the hurricane, years adrift. A local teen, capped backwards, lingered after. The teen kicked the turf, eyeing Joe. Joe, you're awesome. TV said you lost everything. How'd you bounce back? Joe leaned on his driver, exhaling slow. Bounce? Took Eddie's snip, free cut, clean start. Trump's cash, your cheers. Willow Creek's my anchor now. The teen grinned, gripping his club. Anchor? Cool. My dad lost his job at the mill. You're like Hope, gonna swing till I'm you. Joe nodded, clapping his shoulder. Hope? Swing hard, kid. Willow Creek's got us. Tell your dad, job's coming, Trump's building. Thursday dawned. Trump's jet touched down, his SUV rolling to the shop by noon. Main Street swarmed, CNN back, tourists thicker, the gold sign a beacon. Eddie stood outside, apron on, as Trump stepped out, gold tie flashing, waving to the crowd. Trump strode up, clapping Eddie's back. Eddie, my star. Joe's win was huge. Nation's hooked. Tours next, 5 centers, millions. You're in, right? Eddie squared his shoulders, meeting Trump's gaze. In? Trump, hold up, shop's gold, Joe set, but I'm drowning. Tour's too much, talk now. Trump blinked, then grinned. Talk? Sure. Step inside, Eddie, best barber, best heart. Let's deal. They ducked into the shop. Linda trailed, Mia watched, the crowd buzzing outside. Eddie leaned on his station, arms crossed, as Trump paced the gold-trimmed floor. Eddie pointed at the plaque, voice firm. Trump, this, my snip, my roots. Shop's booming, Joe's a pro. Your empire's great, but I'm no jet setter. Trump stopped, jabbing a finger. Jet setter? Eddie, you're gold, nation needs you. Tour's big, $100,000, 20% profits. Name your price. Eddie shook his head, gripping the counter. Price? Not cash, control. I'll train here, Willow Creek. Grow the chain my way, not yours. Trump paused, tilting his head. Your way? Gutsy, love it. Tell me, how's Eddie's cut run this? Eddie straightened, exhaling sharp. Run it? Shop's flagship. Train barbers here, send him out. I stay, Joe stays. Willow Creek's the heart, not a runway. Trump rubbed his chin, then clapped. Heart? Brilliant, tremendous. Flagship's yours. Training hub, 20% profits. $100,000 now. Deal? Eddie nodded, extending a hand. Deal. Roots win, Trump. Willow Creek's gold. Let's keep it here. Trump shook hard, grinning wide. Done, best deal yet. Linda, rewrite it. Eddie's king of the snip. Announcements live. CNN's ready. Outside, Trump grabbed a mic, the crowd roaring. Trump style's future. As Eddie stepped up, Mia sketching fast. Trump waved to the cameras, voice booming. Willow Creek, your gold. Eddie's staying. Flagship's here. Joe's swinging, chains growing. Best empire ever. Eddie took the mic, clearing his throat. Yeah, staying put. Shop's home. Training here, growing smart. Joe's win, your cheers. Willow Creek's the spark. The crowd erupted. CNN cut live. Hashtag Trump-style sword. Tourists cheered. At the farm, Joe watched on a screen, swinging for his class, the teens' words echoing. Hope anchor. He drove by dusk, pulling up as Eddie locked the shop. Joe climbed out, tipping his cap. Eddie heard the news, staying? Good, Willow Creek's us, not Trump's jet. Eddie grinned, pocketing his keys. Us? Yeah, beat Rick, kept my roots. Trump's gold's fine, our heart's better. Mia ran up, hugging them. Better? Epic, Joe's champ, Eddie's king. Sketchbooks full, Willow Creek's legends. Friday hit, the shop buzzed, Joe's classes packed. Trump jetted off to pitch more centers. Linda wired Eddie's bonus, $100,000, 20% locked in. Main Street thrived, shops reopened, kids swung clubs, Millie's hired extra hands. Joe's past, lost drift, wove into the town's grit, uniting them under Trump's gold. Eddie stood outside, staring at the sign. Roots held, shop's gold, Joe's home. Trump's empire's big, Willow Creek's bigger. The gold pole spun, Willow Creek shone, Eddie's snippets beating heart. Trump's storm had settled, and the future was theirs. Eddie Malone stood outside the Trump-style center, scissors in hand, watching the gold sign catch the Saturday morning sun over Willow Creek. It was December 14th, 2025, 6 weeks since his free cut for Joe sparked Trump's golden storm. The shop on Elm and Main was a hub. 5 barbers buzzed inside, trainees prepped for new locations, and Main Street thrummed with life. Shops bustling, tourists snapping pics, kids swinging mini clubs. Trump's style had exploded. 10 centers opened nationwide, Riverbrook thriving, Eddie's deal locking him as the flagship's heart with 20% profits and a $100,000 bonus already banked. Eddie twirled his scissors, grinning wide. 6 weeks, shop's gold, town's alive. Trump's nuts, but we're solid now. Mia skipped up, her sketchbook stuffed with drawings. Solid? Eddie, your legends, Joe too. Riverbrook's packed, CNN's back next week. Your snip's famous. Eddie nodded, pocketing his scissors. Famous? Feels good, Mia, roots held. Shop's mine, Joe's swinging. Trump's empire's ours too. The bell jingled. Linda swept in, tablet glowing. Ours? Eddie, it's massive. 10 centers, $5 million in sales. Mr. Trump's calling it Eddie's empire. Tour's off, training's here. Eddie turned, wiping his hands. Eddie's empire? Linda, that's Trump's spin. Shops Willow Creek, not me. Linda smiled, tapping her screen. Spin? Truth, your snip, your deal. 5 more centers by summer. Trainees start Monday, your call. Eddie leaned on the counter, exhaling slow. My call? Good. Keeping it here, growing smart. Joe set 2. At the Miller farm, Joe stood on the finished fairway. Trump Golf Academy in full swing, clubhouse gleaming, 200 students booked through spring. His win over Rick Vance had cemented him. Nationwide press dubbed him the comeback pro. Kids wore caps with his logo, and locals saw him as their own. He swung a driver, grinning at a class, when a familiar teen, cap backwards, ran up, waving a letter. The teen thrust it forward, bouncing on his heels. Joe, check this, Dad got a job. Clubhouse crew, starts Monday. Your tip worked. Joe took the letter, clapping his shoulder. Worked? Awesome. Told you, kid, Willow Creek's rising. Swing hard, you're next. The teen nodded, gripping his club. Next? Yeah, gonna be you, Joe. Eddie's cut, your swing, town's gold. Joe laughed, swinging again. Gold? Eddie's snip, my ticket. Your dad's in, circle's complete. By noon, Main Street hosted a surprise. Trump's SUV rolled in, gold tie blazing, a crowd gathering fast. He'd jetted in unannounced, CNN trailing, to cap the year. Eddie locked the shop, joining Joe and Mia outside as Trump grabbed a mic, the gold sign his backdrop. Trump waved wide, voice booming. Willow Creek, best town ever. Eddie's snip, Joe's swing. Trump style's a hit. 10 centers, millions rolling, golden circle, folks. Eddie stepped up, hands in his pockets. Circle? Trump, you started it, my cut, Joe's win. Town's thriving, your gold stuck. Trump grinned, clapping Eddie's back. Stuck? Perfect, your roots, my vision. Joe, tell em, swings gold now. Joe tipped his cap, leaning into the mic. Gold? Yeah, Eddie's trim, Trump's push, Willow Creek's home. Beat Rick, teaching kids, circle's mine too. The crowd cheered, CNN zoomed in, Mia sketched the trio. Eddie's scissors, Joe's club, Trump's tie. Linda handed Eddie a check. First profit cut, $200,000, his jaw dropping. Eddie took it, blinking hard. 200 grand? Linda, that's damn, Trump's empire pays. Roots and gold, works. Trump spun to the cameras, pointing sharp. Pays? Best deal ever. Eddie's king, Joe's champ. Willow Creek's heart, Trump style's future. The broadcast cut, hashtag Trump style spiked, centers booked solid, tourists flooded Maine. Eddie banked the cash. Rent gone, Mia's art school funded, shop upgraded. Joe donated lesson fees. Mill workers' kids got free swings, tying his past to their future. Sunday dawned. Eddie reopened, cutting hair with a grin, trainees shadowing his every snip. Joe drove in, pulling a kid from the crowd, a scruffy boy, coat torn, hair wild. Eddie froze, scissors midair. Joe nudged the kid forward, smiling soft. Eddie, meet Tim. Found him by Millie's, no cash. Your move, circle's ours. Eddie set the scissors down, pulling out a chair. Tim? Sit, free cut, slow day special. Joe, you're gold. Keeps going, huh? Tim eased in, eyes wide. Free? Thanks, heard you're the guy, Joe too. Town's cool now. Eddie buzzed away, grinning at Joe. Cool? Yeah, your turn, Tim. Snips on me, future's yours. Mia sketched the scene. Tim's trim, Joe's nod, the gold sign glowing. The shop hummed. Locals cheered. Tourists tipped big. Willow Creek pulsed with pride. Trump's empire soared. 15 centers planned. Eddie's trainees fanning out. Joe's academy a national draw. Eddie locked up, staring at the sign. One snip. Shop's gold, Joe's home, Tim's next. Trump storms ours now. Joe clapped his back, tipping his cap. Ours? Damn right. Your cut, my swing. Willow Creek circle. Mia hugged them, her sketchbook full. Circle? Epic. Eddie, Joe, Tim. Gold's just the start. The gold pole spun. Willow Creek shone, a snip's kindness rippling wide. Trump's empire stood tall, but Eddie and Joe's heart held it, closing the loop where it began.